Namaste to all. Welcome to today's video. A very interesting question from the website vedamandir.com. The question is: people preach about Vedas but they don't follow it. I was listening to a preach by a saint who was speaking on Vedas, and I asked him, Vedas prohibit idol worship, for which he said that just like you go to office, similarly, although God is there everywhere, temple is like an office of Almighty God. So you have to go to the office of Almighty God to meet him. I told him, Yajurveda says Natasya Pratima Asti, for which he got wild on me. What is your opinion, Swamiji? My Acharyaji, Swami Ram Swarupji Yogacharya, beautifully answers in the website. I can only state the views of the eternal knowledge of Vedas, that Vedas do not tell about avatar and also idol worship. Vedas tell that God is formless, omnipresent, omniscient, almighty, who creates, nurses and destroys this universe. Vedas state that God is everywhere. On this, a true point mentioned in Sri Gurubani is Koi na jane tera keta kevade chira. That is, O Almighty God, nobody knows about your karmas, etc. and how big is your darbar. In this connection, I remember a story of a wounded parrot who was struck by a hunter. The parrot fell in the lap of a saint who was sitting in a jungle. The saint was kind enough to the parrot, and he cured the baby parrot for a long time, keeping him in a cage safely. During the same long time, the saint preached him some words so that the parrot could be cautious from the hunter. The saint used to preach the parrot both the times, that is morning and evening. O hunter, I now have understood your trick to hunt, and I shall never fall into your trap. The saint preached these words so that the parrot may save himself from the hunter's trap. When the parrot became alright, the saint released the parrot in the sky. The parrot flew freely in the sky and joined his group. The parrot had become habitual to recite the preach quoted both the times every day. He used to recite the preach both the times in his group, being habitual. His preach was then listened by the newly born babies of parrot. They also became habitual to recite the same. O hunter, I have now understood your trick to hunt, and I shall never fall into your trap. Soon hundreds of parrots became habitual to recite the same both the times. Once the hunter entered the jungle along with his trap to catch the birds and the parrots. He was listening to the recitation of the parrots. The hunter thought that the parrots are also so learned that they have identified him as a hunter, and they shall never fall into the trap. He became nervous and started going back. When he was passing the jungle, the hunter met with the saint who had preached the lesson to the wounded parrot. The saint saw the worried hunter and asked about his problem. The hunter told whatever he has listened from the parrots, and told the saint that I used to come here once in a year and catch the parrots and birds and sell the same in the market, and this was my only source of livelihood. But now the parrots have become learned, and they will not fall in my trap, which will adversely affect my financial condition. After listening the story of the hunter, the saint thought that he must take the examination of the parrots whether they have really become learned about the trap of the hunter. He asked the hunter to follow him. Both reached the place of the parrots where the recitation was continuing. The saint then asked the hunter to lay the trap. Without paying any attention to the recitation of the parrots, he laid the trap. The hunter laid his trap and placed the grains as a bait for the birds. He then returned to the hidden place. The saint and the hunter saw that every parrot was reciting the same lesson, that they understood the trick of hunter and they will not fall into the trap, but surprisingly they were reciting the lesson and were also being entrapped simultaneously. In the trap, the saint also saw the parrot whom he had taught the preach. The moral of the story is that though the parrots learned the preach by heart, by words, yet they do not know the meaning of any of the word, that what is trap and what is hunter. So is the case of the preach of the so-called saints who simply learned the spiritual lesson from the holy books by heart but are entangled in illusion. Because like a parrot, probably they do not know what is God, what is illusion, what is Kam, Krodh, Ahankar, what are the Vedas, etc. etc. Mostly they are indulged in a mission to gather money to enjoy. God has held the sun, moon, air, earth, souls, that is every smallest as well as the biggest matters of this universe is held by God. God does not simply say that I behold the universe, but really He holds the universe. Ancient as well as the present rishis is really studied of Vedas and held the knowledge of thereof in the life, applying it in action as well. For example, Valmiki ji as well as Tulasi ji state in the Ramayana that Sri Ram was a learned of Vedas and Ashtanga Yoga philosophy. Sri Ram also followed the preach of Vedas in everyday life. Sri Ram performed several yajna. He did hard Ashtanga Yoga practice. He obeyed the parents, was always in touch with the truth, did services to Rishi Munis and saved the public as a king also. So is the case of Yogeshwar Sri Krishna, King Harishchandra, King Janak, etc., Vyas Muni, Guru Vasisht, Vishwamitra, Kapil Muni and several other Rishi Munis also followed the same path. Now it is surprising that most of the saints have become professional only. What a beautiful answer. I think this we are seeing in everyday's life that the saints have become just, they are just by hearting the books and then they are speaking in the public as if they are great saints, but they do not have anything in action. So Almighty God does not take avatar. Almighty God cannot be worshipped in temple. Almighty God says in the Vedas very clearly that the only temple made by Almighty God is the human body itself, because inside the human body only we can realize the Almighty God and we can worship the Almighty God. I hope you understood. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.